All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do the day one tournament breakdown video for Lake Guntersville, the fourth stop on the Pro Circuit. This one's going to be a tough one for me to relive because this was one of the worst tournament days I've ever had. Now, I've had plenty of non-limit days, or I haven't had a zero in a very long time. But I've had worse days as far as, where I land in the standings after the day. But most of those tournaments, I'm just like, I just brush it off pretty easily. But since this has been such a frustrating season for me, it's been one of the worst years I've had, definitely the worst year I've had on the Pro Circuit. Having a day like I had on day one really made it difficult for me. It was a very, very tough pill to swallow. Let's just say that. And I learned some really important lessons in this tournament. And the first one is I need to get back to my roots of just focusing on my fishing and not listening to dock talk or anything else. And, information, everybody talks about information like it's some magical thing. And if you're getting information, you're going to do well in a tournament. And honestly, I have been doing nothing but making bad decisions with information. And we're allowed to talk on the MLF Pro Circuit amongst the other anglers in the field, as long as they're not eliminated from a days 3 or 4. And so a lot of us do talk, a lot of us do form alliances and essentially, share information and kind of help each other. The whole idea is to help each other, get dialed in, and it should benefit everybody. But the problem is that a lot of times, it makes it very difficult for you to make good decisions on the water that are based on your fishing style and your fishing experiences. And so this is a tournament day that I finally kind of realized that. I never had a problem with a bunch of poor finishes in a row. But when it comes to this last year, I really, looking back, attribute the poor performance so far to just not necessarily, getting bad information. I'm not getting bad information at all. I don't want to make it sound like that. These are people that I trust. I know that this is how they're catching them. It's just, there's little details that are important in a pattern or whatever type of technique you're fishing that one person, it may come naturally to, but for you, if you don't have experience with that technique, or you're just trying to wing it and try it, you might be missing the boat on some little ingredient that really makes the difference. So anyways, I don't want to harp on that anymore, but day one was extremely tough. I want to hear your opinions on getting information and dock talk and what your experiences have been with it. Mine have been mostly negative when I really sit down and evaluate it. I have had some good instances, but I am really looking forward to just getting back to focusing on my own fishing and, not listening to all the other noise out there. But going into day one here, so the one thing that I did have at Guntersville after practice is I wanted to focus on flipping and pitching. I found an area, up near BB Comer, that real, well-known region that has got a lot of attention recently. And so I found, several stretches on both sides of the river that had some good flipping bites going on. And so that was my primary deal. And I honestly didn't find anything else other than, I caught one decent fish in the Goose Pond Marina. And so that was the only backup that I found. And then I had some information from a friend who, told me to go run a kind of a worming pattern on the main lake. So those were the three things that I had. But starting day one, I decided I wanted to make sure to start on my flipping stretches. So let's start this video right now. Let's go ahead and press play. So this is my first area. This is an area that I really expected to be able to load the boat really fast. And, you know, I got probably a dozen bites in here within an hour in practice. So the bite was actually pretty strong. So I was really expecting to catch them very quickly in this stretch. And you can see we essentially have this like gator vine. It's like this, I don't know, it's not actual gator vine. Here's the first fish of the day. Pulling it out of that cover. That Hayabusa 959 EWG, real big deal, pulling it through those that vine, that viney stuff. So this was right away. I mean, this was within the first 100 foot of the mat that I started on. So I was like, yeah, this is going to be easy to catch a limit, and you know, I should be able to call up to mid-teens minimum. And this fish is probably, I think, was 1.8 pounds. All right, and then after this fish, I don't know what happened. This is one of the things that I really didn't understand. That bite ended up dying. I didn't get another bite. And so I ended up having the marina and that worming pattern on my mind, and decided to go fish this marina real quick with a 5-inch diesel minnows, just kind of fishing around the floats. I ended up getting 2 bites, including this one. This one ultimately is not going to measure. So this is not fish number 2. It was a slippery little sucker. All right, so after that, you know, starting to get a little spun out, I'll be honest, ended up going to this worming pattern, essentially throwing a 1/4 ounce weight, and just covering water with a straight tail worm. And yeah, you know, it was all about fishing some of the points in the, you know, that have grass on it. And but again, this is a tip from somebody else. I fished it the last 2 hours of practice, but I really didn't feel like I fully understood this bite. And so I wasted, I think, 2.5 hours doing this deal. And this was a good fish. This was my best fish of the day. Man, it jumped real high that second time. I was turned away when it jumped. I mean, this fish just kept on jumping. It was actually pretty crazy how energetic it was. Acrobatic. Oh, I'm just gonna boat flip them. All right, so that's fish number 2. We are getting into some really I mean, we've already, I think at this point it's like crazy 11 o'clock, so we've already seen most of the day disappear at this point. Gosh. All right, and then we decided to go back to flipping, because this is what we know, and you know, I figured that maybe there was an afternoon bite, which it was slightly better than the morning. You know, it just caught this fish right here, another small, just barely keeper. And this is pretty late in the day. I mean, this is, I think this is probably like 1:30, and this is probably like 2 o'clock. And I mean, I am just fishing areas that I caught or got so many bites in practice, and it's just blowing my mind with all the bluegill activity. Here's the fourth fish. Look at this vine here. Oh my gosh, this vine was so frustrating because it was just so hard to. Usually when they get stuck in the grass like that, you want to just, you know, let them get tangled and then go in after them. But I had them halfway to the boat, and I was just like, I guess I'm just going to pull this whole vine in. But unfortunately, that is the fourth and final fish of the day. Pretty darn sad. So that is all the fish catches I have to show you guys. And as you can see, that was a really bad day. I ended up in 144th place because everybody was catching them except for me. And yeah, it was one of the toughest nights I've ever had after a day one. I didn't sleep very much. You know, I take this sport very seriously. This is my livelihood. This is my passion. And when you have a day like this, it really hits you hard, you know, especially since I've been stringing together some mediocre and poor finishes this year. But you know, anyways, I thought about it all night, and going into day two, I knew I just wanted to go flipping and just focus on what I know how to do. And it ends up being a pretty awesome day. So you need to check out day two. That's going to be coming out on Friday if you're watching these as I post them. But yeah, that is day one. Keep an eye out for day two. And just remember, you know, those days are going to happen. The really, really tough days are going to happen. It's how you respond to those challenges that really makes the difference in tournament fishing, as it is with pretty much everything in life. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you out on the water and in the next video. See ya.